There are a lot of festivals and holidays around the world. Some of them are interesting, some of them are sad, and some of them are even weird. But there are some festivals that are so famous that it actually causes tourism because of that holiday. And in this video, we want to show you some of these weird festivals. In Thailand, we have a day called the Laburi. This festival is in Laburi, Thailand, and it's the last Sunday of November. But what is the day about? As you know, there is a lot of tourism in Thailand, and there is a lot of monkeys in the streets. These monkeys always try to steal food from the tourists, and some of them are very funny and go viral on the internet. When the people of Thailand realize that these monkeys do this with tourists, they try to make a holiday out of it. And since 1989, they have had a day to feed the monkeys of the city. On the last Sunday of November, they put their money together and buy a lot of food for these monkeys alone. It's interesting because the monkeys even drink soda and they love it. Let's go to the next festival, Tinku in Bolivia. You might not know this, but Bolivia is a country in South America, and more than 50% of its population are native South Americans, and they're the descendants of the Inca Empire. And since there's so many natives in this country, there's a lot of native tradition as well. In this part of the world, there's a special tradition that when it's time to plant your goods on your field, you have to punch your neighbor in the face. It could be an all-out brawl between you two, or you could just exchange punches. You can choose. And you have to hit them in a way where you both start bleeding. If there is blood, that means your produce is gonna come out okay. They have been doing this for many years, and the most interesting part is that they do this to this day, and it's still a tradition in Bolivia. And they still believe that when you bleed, that means your produce is gonna come out alright. Let's go look at another weird festival in Japan. A festival called the Madaka Matsuri. If you translate Madaka Matsuri, it means the naked man. To show that they are brave, Japanese men come out on the third Saturday of February, which is in the middle of winter. They take all their clothes off until they're in their underwear, and they start marching town to town. And if they find some water, they'll jump in the water to make themselves colder and colder, just to show how brave they are. A lot of Japanese men say that if you don't participate in this festival, you're not a man. Let's go to Spain in the city of Buñol, a festival called the La Tomatina. This festival happens in the final Wednesday of August, and it's in the middle of the summer, so it's perfect. On this day, different tractors come into the city with a lot of tomatoes in the back, and they start the biggest food fight in the world and start dumping tomatoes at each other for hours. Around 30 to 40,000 people participate in this festival per year, and they have a food fight for more than 2 hours. This festival started after World War II, and it continues to this day, but they don't know the true reason why it started. Since everybody is happy, nobody questions it and just has fun. So now it's Mexico's turn in the city of Oaxaca. In this city, it's tradition that 2 days before Christmas, on December 23rd, you buy a lot of radishes and design it in different forms, kind of like pumpkins in Halloween. Some say that this is a religious thing for Christmas, but a lot of people say no, this is for business. because the farmers of Oaxaca farm radishes, and by this time they have a lot of leftovers and they want to get rid of all of them. So they made an excuse that on December 23rd, you should buy a lot of radishes and design different things for the holidays. And that is the reason it only takes place in Oaxaca and no other cities of Mexico. Let's go to the Chia Boon festival in Hong Kong. On the 8th day of the 4th month of the Chinese calendar, which is around May, this festival takes place. They believe that on this day, if you create a 20-meter tower that has goodies like a donut-shaped sweetbread, they will get rid of the demons in their soul. When the tower is finished, you're allowed to go up to it and grab the sweets and eat them. But they also have competition where you climb to the top and start collecting from up top. In the year 1978, when they were having a competition, one person fell and they died. And that is why they made it illegal, because it was too dangerous. But they have recently brought this holiday or festival back because a lot of people were asking for it. But they brought it back with a lot of safety measures. Like for example, at the bottom, there is a trampoline type pad, so if you fall, you don't land on concrete. And also, the foundation that holds it in place is much stronger, and sometimes they even build a cage around it, so it's much safer now. Alright, let's go to the beer day on Iceland. On March 1st, it's tradition to drink a lot of beer in Iceland. This holiday or festival is taken extremely seriously in Iceland. A lot of places close due to this holiday, like banks, schools even, except bars and stores that sell beer. In the year 1915, when Iceland is gaining its independence from Denmark finally, they want to change a few rules around. And after a few years, when they successfully gained their independence, one of the rules they had a voting for was to make alcohol illegal. And 60% of the population voted yes, we should make it illegal. But why is that? The reason was that drinking alcohol was a Danish culture, and they wanted nothing to do with Danish people and Danish culture. So because of that, they made alcohol illegal. It only took a few years for people to regret that decision, because sometimes they could go for a drink, but they could no longer. But the government wasn't having any of it. They said, we passed a law and we will stand by it. So they kept it illegal for a very long time. 75 years went by and it was still illegal. Eventually, on March 1st, 1989, the Icelandic government finally decided to make alcohol legal after 75 years. And the reason this festival is set on this day is because it's the day that alcohol finally came back to Iceland. Iceland's economy actually thanks this day because they make a lot of money, not only through themselves, but a lot of tourists come here on this day just to drink beer with the Icelandic people. For the next culture, we once again have to return to Japan. On February 2nd, the Japanese people have a certain culture. They invite their close family and relatives over, and it's tradition for the homeowner to cook some beans and throw it at the guest coming in. And also the guest can grab some and throw it back at the homeowner. And then they pick up the beans they threw it at each other and start cooking food with it. But that was a joke. The reason they do this is to get rid of the demons in their soul. That's the only reason they do it, and there is no history behind it. For the next thing, we gotta go to Bali in Indonesia. On the 22nd of March, it's the New Year of Bali. And you could kind of compare it to the Persian New Year, which is the beginning of spring. When the New Year passes by and they celebrate, for one day, it has to be completely silent. Even the tourists that visit during this time are notified that they have to be quiet, and if they make noise, they could be fined. If you want to watch TV, you can. You just have to turn the volume all the way down or wear headphones. And that refers to any other noise, like using a computer as well. You could also you can only walk, because if you start up your car or motorcycle, you're gonna create a lot of noise. For a whole day, everywhere is quiet. But after the 24 hours is over, everybody starts screaming, but don't take that seriously.